I didn't see anything. I was just on Yahoo. I didn't see anything from anybody, so.
So we got to get done by 9 o'clock so we can hear the great debate.
Hear the great debate. That's right. That's tonight. Couldn't have been last
Hi,
night.
everybody. It's Dave Franco.
Hi, Dave.
Dave.
Hi. Hi there.
All right. We got 4 of us here, so. I don't see Bob Hutteman, and I don't see Mark yet. So, and of course, it's not quite 7 o'clock.
Well, I always try to be as prompt as I can, but of course, last minute. Everybody there?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good.
Turn this one off, see if this helps.
Hello, Mark. You made it.
On the nick of time.
Absolutely.
Time. You can never be late, right? Oh, I'm like my 3rd web camera. It's supposed to have a better light on it, so I don't know what else to do.
Allison, do you want to start the recording? Oh, you are. Great.
Yes.
All right. Well, so I'd say it's just about 7 o'clock. Or it is 7 o'clock. Okay, so I see the recording is on. Allison or Alice, any other things you guys want to do before we get going?
We're all set.
All right, we're all set. All right. Okay, well, it is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the chairman of the commission. With me here on our participant list is Mr. Michael Neustadt, who is a regular member, Dr. John Donovan, who is a regular member, Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate, and Mr. Mark Mulvaney, who is the vice chairman. So all 5 of us will be voting members this evening. Also with us is Allison Kennedy, who is the recording secretary, and Alice Dew, who is the Wetlands Enforcement Officer. So with that, again, all 5 of us will be voting members this evening. We'll go on to Wetlands Enforcement.
All right. Due to the courts being closed, pretty much closed, 148 North Lakeshore has been extended, so we don't have an update on that one.
Okay.
58 Old Grays Bridge Road, Ari got back to me. There's a conflict between himself and the individuals doing the hazardous material removal. And so they are going to court, and he will get the work done as soon as that court decision comes down, or perhaps before, but they're supposed to complete the job and they don't want to. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
If this goes on much longer, we're going to need some sort of report as to what the actual problem or conflict is, because this has been dragging on too long.
Well, I can read the whole thing to you if you want.
I don't know that we need it tonight.
Okay.
Just saying, if it goes on much longer, I think we're going to need to, I'm going to want to hear more about it.
Okay.
Well, I think the entire project is stopped, right? I mean, until this process and all that contaminated soil is removed appropriately, I mean, nothing can happen on that property. I mean, they had plans, at least from our perspective, right, to put a road in the back and wetlands creation. I mean, everything is on hold until that contaminated soil is out. That's my recollection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll get more information about what's going on and a time frame, hopefully.
Okay.
The last one, 83 Candlewood Lake Road, is still in court, and the briefs have been filed, but no word since then. And that is it.
All right. Anybody notice anything in town they want to bring to Alice's attention?
No.
Yeah.
All right. And we do not have any active site inspection reports. Again, the agenda item number 4 is the continued public hearing for 731. I'd like to get to that after we go through the old business and yeah, the old business. We do not have any new business, so that's my suggestion. So let's go to old business. Let's go to 730 Federal Road. Is anybody here from 730 Federal Road, Steve or?
Yep.
Okay.
Good evening, Commission. Steve Sullivan from CCA.
Okay.
James McManus, soil scientist, is also on
Okay. Thank you.
the Zoom conference.
Hello, guys.
Yep. Let's see. I was just going through the material that the land use office puts together for us. I don't see anything new. Is that right, Steve? Oh, wait. There's one.
We just got a letter yesterday, or actually Friday, but I submitted it yesterday, from Connecticut Deep for the Natural Diversity Database.
Oh, yeah, I have that on my notes. Thank you.
Yeah. That's the only thing new. Based on that letter, Jim can elaborate on this if need be, but he looked at the state listed species there, and our site does not contain those habitats for those types of plants and amphibians. So again, we submitted that information yesterday. Since our last meeting, I don't think there was anything else you had requested from us. I think you were just going to review the plans a little bit more and talk about tonight.
Steve, who went through for you guys and determined that there was none of these species of plants or animal on site? I'm just going over the report right now from the DEP.
Yep.
So who made a determination that they're not there?
Well, hi, Mark. This is Jim McManus here. Looking through the report, a lot of the items that are listed there we just don't have the habitat for those. Many of the plants are like dry, sandy sites on calcareous soils, and we just don't have that habitat. So many of the things are more found on the calcareous bedrock areas and along the Still River.
But you're not a botanist, right?
We just don't physically have the habitat to find many of these species that are outlined on this.
Are you a botanist? No,
but when you read the thing and it says habitat primarily calcareous soils, especially limely ledge and pastures, we don't have anything near that on our site.
Because I'm looking, that doesn't necessarily is the same for the turtles, right? For the eastern box of the wood turtle.
The wood turtle you're going to find along the Still River, mainly. That's where they want to be.
They won't go across Federal Road to your wetland over there?
That's not where they want to be.
Okay. Interesting. I'll have to review this thing a little further.
Yeah, if you guys see me looking around, I know I printed it off. I'm trying to get my hands on it.
I'm reading, from the DEP, no heavy machinery or vehicles may be parked within any turtle habitat. There's a lot of things to stay out of that, 50 feet away from that habitat, even. Avoid any limit equipment use within 50 feet.
But again, Mark,
you don't think that habitat exists there.
But we don't have the habitat existing on our site.
All right, I'm just looking at the DEP letter that says they think you do.
Yeah, I know, but if like for instance, one of the plants here, the side oats gamma grass, open calcareous ledges. That's where you'll find that more. You might have a better chance of finding that where they blasted through Route 7, the new Route 7. You have calcareous bedrock.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that on our site.
So you don't have calcareous soils.
We have calcareous. It's a good chance that we have calcareous soils, but we don't have bedrock outcropping. We don't have
Dry sandy soil,
dry sandy soil.
ledges.
No, we have loamy soils that are of finer texture than sand. Sand, when you think about sand, you're thinking almost not quite beach sand, but
Alluvial
certainly.
meadow, swamp, low woods, and wet meadows. You don't have any of that?
Well, again, so if there are some, this is not the time to look for them, number one. Number two,
Right.
they'll be found on the edge of wetlands or in the wetlands themselves, and we are not impacting any of those areas with our development.
I believe you're closer than the DEP would like you to be in a number of those instances.
Well, we can discuss a lot of these issues with them if necessary, if it comes to that.
Yep. All right, sorry for interrupting you.
No, I'm glad you did. I remembered printing it out and reading it. So, and I couldn't, I just was looking around. I was looking around for it because it came in, it came in today, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, this one, oh yeah, we might've gotten this today.
Well,
We got two of them today.
Deep sent us the letter on Friday, and then Steve sent you over, or sent Alice, I guess, the letter today.
Yes, yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me. Yesterday or today. Yes. So, no, the part that interested me, and I said, I appreciate you going through the list of soils and the plants. But can we just go back, like I said, to the, to the turtles? I mean, I said, I know you guys aren't doing any work in the wetlands at all.
Correct.
Are you, I mean, and I'm trying to remember, can we just look at the plan again in terms of the distance, like your line of disturbance to the wetlands?
Yeah.
Yep.
We had, how far, what's our closest point to the wetlands now, Steve?
Yeah.
We were reworking some stuff last time.
Alice, do you want to pull up the plan? Or
Or
I made you a co-host.
pass the baton?
Allison, you want to?
Oh, okay. I made Steve a co-host in case he wanted to.
All right, Steve, you can share.
Do you want to do it, Steve?
yeah, I can share it. Yep.
Okay.
So this is our erosion control plan. The GSF line is the limit of disturbance. So on the west side here, again, we have probably about 15 feet to the wetland line there. And this is also where we're proposing the additional landscaping buffer right in here. And then on the south side, this is the GSF line near that stone wall.
Yeah, you were going to straighten that and make it on top of the stone wall because it didn't.
Yeah, you had suggested that, Mark, and I was just waiting if there's any other comments, but yeah, that could be easily accommodated.
All right, so what's our closest point there?
So that is about, I'm just going to measure it on my scale here. Hold on a second.
I forgot you're sharing the screen. I'm trying to measure it with one of my programs and it's not working. It's not an actual drawing for me.
That stone wall is about 22 feet away. So we can move that GSF just on the north side of that stone wall.
Yep, so you could be 23 feet or so on that side.
Yeah, right.
Up the ditch water course, that's man-made ditch. It's a little bit further away if you start getting into the actual, wetland that we care about, if you will.
Right.
So I said, when I was going through the, the letter from the state, it sort of, it lists the plant species, I said, and then it just kind of jumps right over to the turtle habitat. And it didn't, I think this is what you were suggesting, Jim, again, I was looking for my paper, so I may not have heard everything. this area is not turtle habitat. Is that what I heard you say?
I said it's not desirable turtle habitat. They want to be closer to the Still River.
Okay.
We find them very far away from the Still River here in town.
That's true. I'm just saying we don't have particular outstanding habitat that they enjoy being in. They have habitat that is closer to the Still River and has actually been a sighting not far down the road. So
We also got Limekiln Brook on the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe they built the turtle tunnels under the highway.
Mhm.
Right. Right. So, I mean, one of the things they're, like I said, they're just suggesting is really just a matter of timing here, in terms of when the work is done.
Right.
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 Hand felling trees.
And hand felling the trees.
But I'm also concerned about this where they tell you to hire a botanist and to do it in the proper season. And I'm just not sure, I think that while I certainly trust Mr. McManus's views on soil types, but there's soil types there that could have some of these species.
Yeah.
And I think you'll admit that, Jim.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Mark.
Let's
We
do.
don't have a problem if we send a botanist out who's going to be very proficient at finding these odd plants prior to construction.
Right. How about this, Jim and Steve? Like I said, you guys have a construction sequence.
Yeah,
that
that's
you-
on,
that you've put together. Like I said, we're not up against the deadline on this. Why don't, while Mark and I take a look at this, let me make a suggestion. Take a look at what you got from the state. I said, particularly as it relates to the, to the potential, sort of turtle habitat. And why don't you consider some adjustments, to that construction sequence, particularly as it relates to timing on when you guys might want to do something?
sure.
Sure.
Yeah, why don't take a look at that, and maybe even Jim, you've got a really nice monitoring plan together for this project. Perhaps take a look at it for us and see if that monitoring plan, maybe there's some reasonable or thoughtful or meaningful way to make some accommodation for these. There may not be, but maybe you could just take a look at that for us.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you take a look at that? I said, and why don't you take a look at the construction sequence? Maybe when we get together in 2 weeks.
I think it's another Tuesday, your next meeting, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I think because we've got to accommodate.
Okay.
I have the 13th.
October 13th.
Yeah, we got to
Yeah,
accommodate. Is it Columbus
Columbus Day is
Day?
the Monday before.
Yeah.
Another Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
the next
take a
meeting
look
is
at that.
October, the next meeting is October 13th. Is that what
Yes.
is that what I heard?
Yeah, it is. It's
Correct.
the 13th. Yep.
I'm just reading the letter myself and just got through it. There is a recommendation that a botanist be brought in before construction, look for the identifiable species, targets.
And we plan to do that.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
Right. So, like I said, I think if you can sort of take a look at this and update your construction sequence, Jim, like I said, maybe there's some meaningful updates for that monitoring plan. That might speed the process along here.
Okay.
Steve, did you get a tree survey yet for us?
Oh, yeah, that was presented at the last meeting, Mark.
I'm just not remembering it.
Yeah, that's sheet C7. This
Oh,
one.
C7. Yeah. So in your construction sequence, can you think about hand felling trees within the 50 foot of the wetlands or potential turtle habitats? Can we think about adding that to your
I'll think,
sequence?
yeah. Let me,
Go, right. I'm not
Consider
looking
that.
for an answer today.
yep.
That would be unfair.
Again, I think everybody appreciates everybody's patience, because I said these are much harder to do here. So we all appreciate everybody's
Yeah.
patience.
Okay.
Well, that's what I had. John, Dave, Michael, Mark, anything else?
No, you've covered any
No, I
concern.
think it's been laid out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys moving that garbage waste disposal area to get it away further. You know, appreciate that you've changed some things for us so far,
Sure.
but we'll continue to work on it.
Yeah, so that was moved, the waste area,
Yeah,
because we talked about that. Thank you.
he put it up on a 45 up there.
Yeah.
And you have some sort of fence around that, right, Steve?
Correct. Yep. There's a note on there. Yep. All right.
All right. Anything else? All right. So
from
someone want to make a motion to continue?
Sure. We'll make a motion. We continue the public hearing for 730 Federal Road, number W20-35, for our next regularly scheduled meeting on a Tuesday, October the 13th.
I'll second that.
One
All
quick
right.
note.
Lots of seconds.
I heard Michael there. So Michael.
That's all right, whatever.
All right. All those in favor?
Hold on quick. It's just a regular meeting, not a public hearing.
It's just
think
a
Mark
regular
said
meeting.
public.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Strike that. I'd like to amend that to
Just,
continue
just-
the item 7A, not public hearing. Thank you, Steve.
No problem.
And I'll amend my second.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we've got a motion to continue 7:30 to our next regularly scheduled meeting on October the 13th. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Motion carries 5-0.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep.
All
Thanks.
right,
Steve.
thank
Thanks.
Take
Jim.
care now.
Congratulations, Alice.
Congratulations.
All right. All
You
right.
didn't hear? I don't think Mark heard the news.
I apparently missed it.
I'm a grandmother now.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations. I didn't hear the
All
news
right.
either. Congratulations.
Thank you. Sunday, my son and his wife had a baby girl.
Oh,
Excellent.
Very nice.
And what day was that?
Sunday.
And ask her
Sunday.
name.
Okay, good.
Ask her name. It's very appropriate.
what is her name?
What is her name?
Her name is River.
Ah,
I thought you were going to say September.
All righty. All right. Let's see. Next we have is 100 Candlewood Lake Road, the school project. Again, we just want to thank the applicant's agent for that extension of 1 day to, like I said, to accommodate us. It's been quite a challenging schedule with holidays and power outages and whatnot, but I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for doing that. So that brings us to today. Like I said, the decision time frame for the, for the school project is today. Again, I think there's some people from the applicant here that they don't need to make any extensions. They can break in if they want.
but
If they want.
they still have days left if they so chose to.
Yes. Just double check that.
29 days used, 36 days available.
Yep. So there are 36. I said, but today is the day. So, like I said, I've had a chance to in the last 2 weeks to go through again all the tremendous amount of material from the applicant and the applicant's agents and the wetlands scientists and the 3 agents that we've had. I went through it again, to see if there was anything that maybe I had missed or wasn't considering. And I haven't changed my opinion on this, that, if my arithmetic is correct, there's 1,190 square feet of wetlands that are gone and they're not replaced, or, in any significant form. So, I am still believe that there are prudent and feasible alternatives to, I said, either to change the footprint of that building or change something that would, maintain those wetlands. I remain concerned about some of the close development of the buildings, but I've gone through it and I haven't changed my, my thinking on it. So let me open it up to my colleagues.
I've also
So I concur with you, basically.
So, hey, Dave, we'll take you. I kind of heard you. We'll take you.
go ahead, Dave.
No, the project right now, we're going to lose wetlands, and it isn't being replaced. You're absolutely correct.
So, John or Michael or Mark?
I would have some comments, and
Yeah, sure.
I've looked at it as you have, and I agree that there's issues as it is now, but I think I would be comfortable and would probably be making a motion to approve this with the following changes. There was a list I saw of conditions of approval. There were 6 items on it. And I would add one, and it would make me comfortable voting yay. If we added to this one more stipulation that the applicant agrees to the creation of at least 1,190 square feet of new wetlands on the same or adjoining property, with plans for the new wetlands to be submitted to the commission for approval within 6 months, with all the other usual stipulations. That would be something I would be willing to vote on.
I like it in theory. I don't know how we get there. That is uncharted waters for me, seeing that we've had expert testimony from both sides that this lot does not, it would actually do more damage to include more wetlands on this property.
Correct.
And the lot next door is not part of this parcel. I don't know how you. Secondly, I could certainly lean more that way. When we like 1.5, I always like 2 times the amount we're taking. So the original 4,400 square feet of wetlands that they're taking, they're only giving that back to us in a 1-to-1 as it is. Plus they're taking away another 1,190. So I'm in the 9,000 square feet of creation, but to me, it's got to be on site. And we've heard expert testimony, like you said, from both sides that can't happen. And we asked for it and they wouldn't present that. So I don't know how we get there. So maybe you could walk me through, if you think of a way that I don't, because I'm certainly not perfect.
Well, I was a little concerned. I know I'm offering something up that was not offered by the applicant, and we have had a number of discussions over the last few meetings where this was mentioned. I would like to think that the applicant went to the powers that be, the ultimate applicant, which is the town of Brookfield and the school system. But in this case, the town of Brookfield, who was a parcel just to the south. And if they would be willing to submit a plan to create wetlands on that area, on that additional site. To be honest with you, I wrote 1,785 square feet originally, which I would be much happier with. 1.5 times what would be wiped out. But again, I think if there was other support and if the town agreed, I would agree to the 1-for-1 replacement. In terms of the legality of requiring something be done on another plot, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I would think that it would be possible because it's the same owner.
I would think so too. It's adjacent. There is adjacent property, and so I wouldn't think there would be a big problem with that. But Michael, isn't there another? Isn't there even another option that if the wetlands creation, that could be an option. But what about the option of offering them, like I said, just to change the footprint of the building? and then the problem can go away. That's another option, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
second-
Michael, I actually liked your proposal. It puts a lot of burden on the applicant, but it's kind of interesting what you just said. You know, about finding just a replacement for the wetlands.
We've had expert opinion, including our own, that the plans as submitted met all of the criteria and all of the concerns that the expert had expressed in terms of what was being done. I think that went a long way to comfort me in terms of, is this a bad thing if they build as planned? And the only leftover item in my mind was the destruction of wetlands, and if it could be replaced, which we've accepted before, I guess that would make me feel well enough. I would be much happier if there was no wetlands destruction, if we were able to build a building much further away, that we stayed out of the review area, that all sorts of things be done. But I heard some very persuasive arguments that that was not possible to do any more because of the necessity for building a certain size school, and for the order it has to be done, that the existing building has to remain. Well, I think I've said what I wanted to say.
I'd like to know why they came with a second floor on part of it and changed the footprint that way. I mean, I have been substitute teaching over there, and going to the second floor has never been a big problem. And you cut back some of that sprawl I have by getting a second floor, not for the whole thing, but to part of it anyhow.
We have that.
What's that?
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Yeah, who was that?
Yeah, the
Unmuted
existing
voice.
school does have a second floor, yes. But it's not our purview to tell them what they should do. And
Well, Mark, it is our responsibility to provide them some direction. We say, if we're going to say, look, if this doesn't meet our standards, then we could provide some suggestions. And I think we have been.
And we have done that.
We have done that, whether that's, so I just want to say, it's not, I just want to sort of maybe change your direction here a little bit in terms of, we can provide them some suggestions, and we have.
And we did, right. We absolutely did.
Yeah.
Sharon, what do you think of?
Hang on, Dave, just let Mark finish, and then we'll go right over to you.
And we suggested those as part of what we thought might be prudent and feasible alternatives, and they had a different view. So the main issue for me, the only issue for me is, I want the school to pass. I really do. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be big. It's going to be great for the kids. It's going to be great for the town. This doesn't pass the test. The only reason I'm torn on it is because if this were any other applicant in town, we wouldn't even be having these discussions. It would be a no. It would be, you change it, you get it out of the wetlands, you get it out of the upland review area, not building it, not happening, no. And if any one of you can look me in the eye and say that you would vote yes for any other project that we've denied, that you regret that and you would have passed them, I want to hear that, because that's my problem. I want it, but there's no way, and I can't hold the town to a different standard than I hold everybody else. I just can't do that. And I know the changes we may cost the town more money and delays and things for what's better for the wetlands. Obviously, financially, personally, I don't want that, but that's not my purview as a wetlands, on the wetlands team here. We have to worry about what's best for the wetlands. And this just wouldn't pass if anyone else was doing it, to me. I'm not putting a vote in anyone else's mouth. I can't get past that.
Hey, I'm gonna add to that, but Dave, I promised to go over to you. So let me go over to Dave, and then I want to come back. Dave?
Yep, I'm here. We're judging wetlands here. That's all we're judging, nothing else. What if the applicant came back with equal wetlands that we're losing? It would be a burden, but it would have to be absolutely rational and complete within X period of time for the application to be approved. What do you think of that? Or do you think it's not good? I've heard I've been in all the hearings. I've heard everything. But I thought that might be an interesting proposal, but it would have to be something, that was complete, and it wasn't political or anything. It was just, that's the way it was. Are people thinking, or are they, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
I have done an awful lot of thinking about this one, and I come down to the same place. We don't have to have permanent destruction of approximately 1,190 square feet of wetlands. We don't need it. I mean, that building could be changed. The footprint could be changed. It's a false choice, I think, that we've got in front of us, that it has to be this way or it has to be no way. And
Okay,
I would just, like I said, just bear with me a second, Dave. We'll come back to you. Our commission is charged with protecting the wetlands, and it's very nice that they're opening up the stream, and it's very nice that they're doing the enhancement of the wetlands, but that is not a one-for-one replacement for the recharge, the recharge elements and all the basic features and functions of a wetlands. My personal preference would be to change the order of that building and, or the footprint and save those wetlands. Or I would, if there's wetlands creation, I think a 1-for-1 isn't adequate. I'm not sure I can get to 1-for-9, but the other project that we did was a 3-to-1. I could probably get to a 2-to-1. There does seem to be property next door where it could be. But I'm kind of with you, Mark. I think of all the commercial projects that we have had here. And so every single one of them, barring one, which was a tiny little 300 square foot wetland, has made adjustments to their plans to protect the wetlands. And that's not what we have in front of us here. And so, Dave, want to come back to you?
If they just put up a new school in the present footprint, we wouldn't even be having these conversations.
Agreed.
In other words, if they tore down the old school and put a new school up in the same footprint, that nothing, in terms of wetlands, nothing would really be affected particularly.
So
that brings up an issue, but that's they're just trying to put the building in a different place on the same lot, if you will.
Yeah, we discussed rotating the building, maybe a parking garage, getting rid of one of the parking lots. You could slide the building up that way. You could get rid of courtyards. You could do expanded second stories or third story. There are options. Not my choice for what option I would take. There's just options that don't have this permanent loss of wetlands on site. Forgetting the habitat for the turtles, we're to stay 50 feet away from,
right.
That's out the window. And understanding we don't do that now because we mow the field.
Because we mow the field, right? Yeah.
But we're building right up against, aside the fact of the 1,190 wetlands loss, the upland review loss, and the fact that a good portion is still right up against the wetlands.
Right.
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way that we're having to face a choice, a decision like this. But I said, if we're trying to be consistent, and we're trying to do the right thing for the wetlands, which belong to everyone in the state of Connecticut, I don't see how we approve it. So
Yeah.
to what we have, would you make any changes, or what's your thinking at this moment?
Well, if I hate to use the term,
Not to put you on the spot, so you can just say.
No, I'm ready to answer. I'm just thinking of the right word. I don't want to say this that I'm trying to win you over, but I would certainly be comfortable if hopefully you would be. I think you're aware of the draft conditions that was done a few weeks ago that I have.
I have not seen them.
Okay. I'd read them, but it's going to take a while.
Well, that's where we are, though. If it takes a while, it takes a while.
Okay. But I will add to that at the end that we, with the stipulation that the applicant agrees to the creation of at least 2,380, and that's double what's lost, 2,380 square feet of new wetlands on the same or adjoining property, with plans for the new wetlands to be submitted to the commission for approval within 6 months, and with all the usual stipulations to be effective on the date after publication. That's boilerplate. Prior to that, the resolutions or the conditions of approval that was handed out, it is conditioned upon the following: compliance with the plans and documents certified and identified as created on 8/19/20 or submitted on 8/19/2020 by Tecton Architects and Malone and McBroom, that the town will at its discretion appoint professional monitors of the commission's choosing to inspect the site. These individuals report to the town of Brookfield and the Inland Wetlands Commission and will be paid by the town of Brookfield. The applicant will be responsible for reimbursing the town for the costs. It is a stipulation of the wetlands permit that all findings of inspections reports to be replied to in a timely manner in writing to the wetlands enforcement officer, and that these replies should indicate a schedule for any correction of the findings, which replies may be made by mail or email. The applicant shall identify to the wetlands enforcement officer the name of the responsible person to whom his report should be sent. Invasive management with inspections by a biologist will be as per drawing 1.3 and the noted invasive species management notes. Protection of the box turtles and salamanders as per drawing 1.7 dated 8/19/2020 with inspection by a qualified herpetologist. And maintenance and monitoring reports must be submitted in late fall by November 1st and early spring by May 1st for 4 consecutive years. So with that in front of what I read first about the addition of, or the creation of 2,380 square feet would be my motion.
You've heard a couple of us talk about the opportunity that there is a feasible and prudent alternative to reconfigure the school.
I am aware of that.
So does your motion, again, thinking about it, right, and what you've heard, would you consider adding that to the motion?
Reconfiguring, I think that's, I mean, I would certainly agree to that, but I have heard many reasons why that's not feasible. And knowing what I know, well, I won't say that because I don't know a lot about construction, but I do know, having been involved in a number of real estate and construction projects in the past, some of the things you mentioned, like adding a second floor, it brings up the need for probably 2 elevators, very expensive, and a number of other ADA issues. That there are a number of things that the building as designed did that I was very happy with in terms of increasing opportunity for education in the wetlands issues. I don't see how reconfiguring the building would make a significant difference in the closeness of the building to the wetlands and the upland review area. I just think that would make the building so small as to be impractical as a school. So those are some of my thoughts. Yeah, I certainly would. I mean, if the applicant would agree that there's a way to reconfigure the building and yet allow it to serve the purpose that it's supposed to serve, it would certainly be a good thing. But I don't see how that can be done. That's just my opinion.
Well, I don't think there's any, I think all of us here are trying to do the right thing. I think everybody here has in the first and foremost, trying to protect, do our job as Wetlands Commission. So I think everybody on this, on this commission is trying to do that. So, I mean, what I'd like to do, I said, you guys have heard Michael, wait, just 1 second, Dave. So I'm just trying to move this along. Michael has sort of generally, sort of outlined a motion. I mean, generally outlined, he has not made a motion yet. What I'd like to do, I said, just to try and move this along here is, I said, if anybody wants to sort of give Michael some feedback on that, I'm prepared to do that first. But that's one of the things I'd like to do. Again, just trying to move this along for us. So I'll just say, and then I'll turn it over to everyone who wants to say something. Michael, I might be able to get behind that, but it would have to include the option of the applicant to reconfigure the building.
Explain.
It would have to, I could get behind what you just said if you were willing to add that. So that's my piece here.
You just added a word that I hadn't heard you say before, that an option for reconfiguring the building. Are you saying that you would, that it would be an approval based on either creating additional wetlands or reconfiguring the building?
I might be able to get behind that. I mean, this is kind of a new idea for me. So, but I'm just trying to be outline and just trying to move this along. I could get behind it, but it would be an option that either they could recreate, and I think it would be twice, twice. So 1190, it'd be almost 4,000 square feet, just a little short.
2380 is the number, which
I wrote down, well, maybe we can check our arithmetic.
1190 double is 2380. Am I wrong?
Yep,
you're right. I am. I'll throw out my.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm wrong. 2390.
But
doubling. Yep.
I knew there was a reason for majoring in math.
Real quick. That's only the amount that they're not giving back. They're already creating wetlands in a 1-to-1 ratio for some other that they're taking away.
Okay, is that where you came up with your?
That's the green.
Yeah.
Is what they're adding.
Okay.
Yeah, but Mark, let me let you finish. Sorry.
And that's only a 1-to-1 for what they're doing a 1-to-1. They're creating some. They're actually so if we looked at it, they're like a 0.7-to-1 what they're taking away to what they're giving us. Right.
Right.
I think in total, if I remember the math, it's 4,000 that they're 3,800 something like that they're destroying. They're giving back some, but the net difference is an 1190 loss. That's where I got to my 8,000 number. If I was going 2-to-1 to what they were destroying, which is what we would typically do. That's
so. But you would give them credit for what they're.
Yeah. Give them credit for what they've given us. Yes, you're right. So then it drops it to 5,000 or 6,000. Yeah. Rough math, top of my head.
Okay.
But Michael, my other thing, just real quick, Sharon, is you don't see that this building could rotate in this direction and pull away from all of these wetlands? I think
there are multiple options. Yeah, to move that away from wetlands. Yes.
I want to go back to a point that Mark made, and it's about how we in the Inland Wetlands Commission treat applicants. And do we treat the town of Brookfield the way we would treat commercial builders? Would we allow this for commercial builders, or would we just say no, too bad?
I voiced my opinion. I would say no.
I think the best answer to that is just to look at the record. Just to look at
Well,
the record.
it's a different way of looking at this. You know, if we follow Michael's proposal, you know, we're sort of extending ourselves. Would we do this for a commercial builder? You know, the same thing. I've only been on the commission for a few months, so I don't have a long history with this. And, you know, I'm just saying, you know, Sharon, you and Mark have been on the commission for a long, long time.
So, Sharon, if I may try to answer.
Sure.
we have historically not approved projects.
Mm-hmm.
The one time I can remember we did have some loss of wetlands. They did a recreation on site, and it was part of the application.
And the reason for that, the only reason that we talked about it, the only reason they had to take wetlands there, it was a safety concern. It was a very large building, and there was no way for a fire truck to get to the back without, you know, without sort of extending that road into a wetland. So for me, and I'll just speak for me, that was an overriding concern. And the wetlands creation was, I don't remember the exact number, but it was in the 4 to 5 to 1 range. It was, 4 to 5 to 1 range. And so that was, there was an overriding safety concern there for the fire trucks. And I'm not seeing that here.
Okay, do we treat the town government the way we would treat a commercial builder?
Every commissioner's got to make up their own mind there.
I certainly have a history of 100%. I think no one would argue that I hold the town to the same standards I've held everyone else.
Yeah, I gathered that. Do you have an opinion, Sharon, on this question?
My interest is, I said, the wetlands, I've said this before, the wetlands don't care. The wetlands don't care, you know, they don't care whether it's a commercial property or a government property or a church property. The wetlands do not care. They are neutral. So I am neutral.
Okay, that sort of fits in with what Mark was saying. Anybody else have an opinion on this question about, you know, treating the town the way we would treat other builders?
In order to move it along, as you suggested, Sharon, am I hearing from what you said and what Mark said, that if I were to take the motion that I suggested, I didn't made yet, I suggested, and change the number of necessary creation to, and I think we were somewhere around 4,000, and we could work out the math based on Mark's calculations, and then add Sharon's suggestion that the choice would be the applicants, but we would give them the option to either create that additional wetlands offsite or reconfigure the building so that there would not be a net loss of wetlands.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I think I can get behind something like that.
I'm in favor of the rotating the buildings, or not rotating, any reconfiguring, the reconfiguring of the building.
But would you accept, Mark?
But
I'm sorry.
There is not a way to do that with, and I spoke to legal counsel, and there's not a way to do that we knew of with in part of an approval, as a contingent part of approval. That's too much. A contingency is something reasonable. Changing the building is a new application.
Mhm.
And as I
Yes.
suggested
Yep,
before,
yep.
you know, a withdrawal of the application, resubmit it with there to be a pretty slight modification of the footprint, makes it in my mind a pass. Then we're not negatively impacting, permanently destroying wetlands. That's where
Well,
I'm.
that's kind of where I am. I mean, we're not talking about, I mean, rotating the building is a big project. Maybe it is, maybe it, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not a builder, so I don't know, but changing, small size of that building to, to preclude, destroying wetlands 4 or changing where that road and the sidewalk is for wetlands 3, I don't see as a big deal. I haven't talked to anybody about it, and that does not seem to be a big deal. So, I mean, so I guess we're saying, we could approve it if they did if they changed the building around to not to destroy the wetlands, or a recreation of 4,000 square feet of wetlands. I think I could get behind that. I haven't done one like that. But I don't see that as a problem. But it sounds like, Mark, you're bringing a piece of information that I'm not aware of.
Seems kind of tough that they would have to come back with a brand new application also. It's a lot of extra legwork.
But if the application came through and there was no destruction, there's no
wetlands, it's
destruction
simple
of wetlands, then it's we would treat it like every other application. We might not even might not even require a public hearing.
We'll come to that bridge when we come to that bridge.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned, not being an architect, of trying to tell them what how to redesign the building, to turn it, to cut off this corner, cut off that corner. I think the only possible way to do it that I would be comfortable with, and would be if we use the 4,000 square foot creation of wetlands, or reconfigure the building so as to not incur a net loss of wetlands on the existing property. And we'd have to leave it up to them as to how that would be done.
Right.
So again, reconfigure. Well, I think they're relatively minor changes. I understand architecturally it's a project. I'm not dismissing what the architects and engineers have done. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I think they could make something beautiful and gorgeous in a different configuration. But more importantly, as a wetland commissioner, we have to not impact the wetlands. So again, as you say, as big of a project as that is, that's too much to put in a condition of approval.
Well, that's why I'm not suggesting we tell them what to do with the building, just simply relate only to the wetlands, and either they create 4,000 square feet of new wetlands on the same or an adjoining property, or reconfigure the building or the plans so as there would not be a net loss of wetlands on the existing property.
So
I don't think it's necessarily appropriate to tell them to reconfigure the building with our commission. I think we should just talk about wetlands, and that's up to them to figure out a reconfiguration.
Well, that's why I was sort of changing it to say not tell them to reconfigure the building or what to do with the building, but just to find a way not to wind up with a net loss of wetlands on the existing property.
Yeah, that's all we can talk about. It's a net loss of wetlands. That's really the only area we can talk about here.
And
go
ahead, Mark.
To be clear, we have denied applications because there was zero work in the wetlands, but there was too much work in the upland review area. So it's not just the wetlands. The upland review area is part of our purview as well. So we've walked right past that on this project out of some sense of, I'm not sure, no understanding of need for the school, but we shouldn't forget that. Michael, if this was not a town project, what would you be suggesting the same thing? Or would you simply suggest that they withdraw the application, resubmit it with whatever changes we think, and we could go for an approval then?
That is a difficult question. Thanks for asking.
That's a good question, though.
I'm not
Would
trying to
I-
put you
That's a
on the
very
spot.
good question.
I
Good
think-
job,
Put on the
Mark.
spot.
I think the answer to that and the answer to the question of whether we would treat the town the same has to go back to the individual project. And I don't think I would want to answer that in general. I think I would want to know specifically what the project was and what was happening and what other advantages or disadvantages would come to the wetlands from the project. And there could be extenuating circumstances. So I don't want to say that just because it was a commercial venture. If all things being equal, yeah, I would probably feel the same way. But of course, all things wouldn't be equal because it doesn't make a lot of sense that a private developer would be building a public school.
Well, Michael,
As a taxpayer, I'm concerned about what the town is incurring with expenses. If they reconfigure a building, they have to pay an architect to put forth new plans, and somebody has to pay the architect. I know this isn't exactly our purview, but as a taxpayer, I don't want the town spending a lot of extra money that they're going to charge back to the taxpayers.
well, Michael, you've been kind enough to sort of step up and offer a motion, which would be something along the line approved with a number of stipulations. I think it's again to move things along. There is another option, of course, and that would be to deny the application with the reason being, and articulate the reasons. So that's another option, that we have in front of us. I don't think, Mark, we have approve as is, approve with stipulations, or deny. I mean, those are the boxes, of decisions that we have. We can't make a motion to suggest they withdraw. They could, of course, they can do that anytime they wish.
Yep.
But that would be another way to make a motion to deny it. I would include, for example, primarily, the destruction of 1,190 square feet, where again the conversation would support that there are, prudent and feasible alternatives prudent and feasible alternatives that would not impact the wetlands. So that's the other choice I think that we have in front of us.
That's a very strong option too, what you just mentioned, Sharon.
Well, I said, I think, we need to come to, a decision as to, what way do we need to go? There are 5 of us, I'm just floating these ideas because I think we'd like to sort of have everyone get some general idea of where everyone is so that we can make a motion that we think, that we will have some support or not. I mean, people can make motions and they can fail, and then there can be another option. But again, I think everybody here is trying to do, for what our charge is, which is, the wetlands of the state of Connecticut and the wetlands of Brookfield. So I think everyone's trying to do that.
We have, right now with our conversation, we're coming up with 2 options. The one about approve as is out the window. Because of the loss of wetlands. So it's either approve with stipulations of increasing wetlands or it's rejecting. And what happens is with either one, we are going to have the town jumping through hoops on this. So it's the lesser of 2 evils in a way.
Well, I think in an effort to move this along, I think I am going to step out on the ledge here and make the motion that I read. I hopefully not have to read it again, that it's on recording, changing the square foot addition to 4,000 from the 1190 that I spoke at first, and adding to that condition the rest of the sentence, or reconfigure the plans so as to prevent any net loss of wetlands on the current property. I would be willing to make that motion, but I guess it's going to depend on whether anyone is going to second it or
Yeah,
not.
I don't think we should tell them about reconfiguring the building. I think we should just be talking about the wetlands and the upland review area. That's it.
I wasn't
I'm
saying
sorry. First of
reconfigure.
all, I'll second it so Sharon can call it for discussion.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just be sure, Michael, so you are making a motion. You are making a motion to approve it with, and I think there were a number of stipulations there related to, and I may not have them all, but there were a
Yeah.
couple that related to monitoring.
Exactly.
Monitoring and giving the option that within 6 months,
Correct.
right, within 6 months, the applicant provide a revised plan that will either provide wetlands recreation in the amount of 4,000 square feet on that property or adjacent town property,
Correct.
or reconfigure the footprint of the building to I want to get them looks. Reconfigure the building such that wetlands 4 and a bit of wetlands 3 is not impacted.
Well, I was going to change the reconfigure the building to reconfigure the plans so that there would be no net loss of wetlands on the existing site.
Okay.
It could.
All right.
It could
Well, that's
be
all
moving
we should
parking
say,
lot.
but it shouldn't be, just revise the plans without saying anything about the building per se.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good catch. All right. So that was that. So Mike, I'm just confirming. Michael's made the motion. Mark has seconded it. So we do have a motion on the floor here. So let me open it up to discussion.
That sounds good to me.
This is the lesser evil to the town jumping through hoops.
Well, let me explain a hoop that may have gotten overlooked. When we're creating 4,000 square feet of wetlands on a town parcel that's field and trails, to me, that's probably another project that has to go through another public hearing. There very well could be interested parties that in adjacent properties, or and because it's a town parcel, really anyone in the town that uses that is a recreation area, that may have to go to a public hearing as well. We certainly would need experts on our end to tell us if it was going to succeed or fail. That may be a much bigger hurdle than anyone here is really thinking about.
The question is it a bigger hurdle than finding some other way to reconfigure the plan so that they don't have a net loss on their site?
That's
Why are we worried
not
about
up to me.
Why are we worried about the height of the hurdle?
It's not up to us. I'm just.
What's going to happen is with either if we approve this resolution or we reject, there's still probably going to be another public hearing because the town is going to come back with a new project. If this is rejected, they're going to come back and there's going to be another public hearing. And you're saying with adjacent space being disrupted for wetlands, there could be another public hearing. There's probably going to be a public hearing regardless of which option we take.
Well, if you heard Ms. Fox earlier, she very clearly spoke that if this project didn't interfere with any wetlands and had no direct impact to wetlands, it wouldn't go to a public hearing. So therefore, a reapplication, a resubmission on this that didn't affect wetlands wouldn't need a public hearing, potentially could go through much quicker than trying to create wetlands somewhere else. I know there's a time sensitive issue to this. And I've tried to beat around the bush that we're cognizant of that and tried to help steer, and it just we didn't get any traction on it then. But I want people to understand the potential time impact moving forward with decisions that we think we can make right now as a stipulation that could make it much more impactful on the schedule later on.
So you're saying if we rejected it now and then the town came back and there was no impact on wetlands, it would be, more efficient, if you will.
And maybe they can't do that. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what we think.
Again, gentlemen, again, I think all we can really focus on is wetlands. Whatever the process is in the future or whatever that town needs to do is one thing. I don't know necessarily, again, that should get into what our final determination is. Our final determination is wetlands and what's the right thing for wetlands. And then whatever happens can happen. But if it's not wetlands, why are we worried about that? Why are we worried about timing? Why are we worried about which option they choose? I appreciate Mark saying if they decided they wanted to create wetlands in another area, well, that might take some time. Well, fine. Shouldn't we just focus on
what's on the floor right now is a motion which we should be discussing.
We are discussing.
I know, I understand whether or not that you could accept that the motion adequately expresses what your feelings are. I'm not disagreeing with you, Mark. I feel strongly that we need to do what we can to protect wetlands. I'm just suggesting that my motion is the best I think we can get. I could be wrong, but that's where I feel. And it gives them the opportunity. And if you're right, that creating the additional wetlands is a bigger problem than I thought, and maybe they're going to find another way to do it.
But adding in that option that they can, however you worded it, master.
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah, change.
It's not that we want them to change it in any specific way. We want them to eliminate the elimination of wetlands.
Destruction of wetlands.
Yeah, destruction of wetlands.
Right, because there are prudent, we think there are prudent and feasible options to do so.
And again, I apologize. I know I got off topic trying to make this thing happen in a quick way. And you're right, that's not our purview.
Hey, John, were you trying to get something in there?
I think we should just vote on that suggestion by Michael.
Call the motion.
It's been seconded. You can call it for a vote.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not ready to do this yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this.
Yeah, we are.
Well, we have to because the motion's been called. So
Yeah,
we have to vote.
If
wait, I want to just ask one more thing. If we approve Michael's motion, the town still could back away from this application and start all over again, right?
Town could do whatever it wants. I don't see that as feasible.
In other words, it could do the same thing it would do if we reject.
Yeah, yes, they probably could. And just to be clear, if we vote no on the proposal on the table, that's not a no to the project. That means we need to think of other things we would want to vote on, whether
we're just voting
or denial. Or we have
that's
another
an interesting perspective.
Well, I'm sorry?
That's an interesting perspective you just put out. I'm not being facetious. That's that's sort of interesting.
We also have another option, which is not vote on it tonight, and the application can ask for another extension, and we can do this all again in 2 weeks. I don't know that we're going to get anywhere, but that is another option. Just laying all the options out there.
Yeah, why don't we investigate that? Because I feel sort of uncomfortable about voting for this.
I understand that, but
Dave, gentlemen, Dave, whether there's an extension on the decision is nothing that we can, that we can ask for. That's the applicant asks for it.
Okay.
But Sharon, can I ask you a question? And sure. Because that was an interesting question. If my motion is voted down, does that necessarily mean that the project has been denied, or simply that this particular motion has been denied and that we can make another motion to do something else.
We would make another, I would think that if your motion fails,
Mhm.
you know, then there's another opportunity for someone else to make a motion, whether that was, you know, so, I mean, because I think we do want to get to the point where I said we do have some action, you know, whether there's a majority vote.
Well, then-
Yeah, so if this one fails, then, you know, then we can try again on this, you know, on another motion, but I think we need to
okay.
come to some action today.
But I heard somebody, I think you say you called the motion, which means no more discussion on this motion. We just.
You know, I hadn't quite called it yet.
Oh,
but
okay.
I hadn't quite
Yeah, no,
called
don't call it quite yet. Can we bring the same motion up again in the future?
Of course.
You know, if it's voted down right now, can it still come back to the surface?
Yes.
Yes, it can.
Right. So at this point, I would like to call the motion. I'd like to hear a vote.
You have that right.
All right. All right. Well, we've got one of our colleagues has asked me to you know, to call the motion. So it's Michael's motion with the like I said, the stipulations. I said about management and monitoring, all the normal stipulations, and effective, you know, the first day after the publication, and again with the two, you know, the two stipulations. Or the one stipulation that provides an option for them to revise the plans with either an option of changing the project such that there is no net destruction of wetlands, or recreation of wetlands on an adjacent town property in the square footage of 4,000 feet. Did I get that right, Michael?
Yes, you
Sound
did.
right? Okay.
With to be effective on the date after publication, I'm always told to add.
I will re-second that in case there's anything changes in it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Aye.
There's one aye.
Aye.
John says aye. Dave?
Yeah.
Taking advantage of being the chairman here, Dave.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark, that leaves you and me.
It's already passed.
No, it hasn't. It's three. We've
You have
had
three
sort of
votes.
a roll call vote here for one of the few times.
Yeah, and that's 3 yes.
I didn't really want to vote on this, to be honest. I'm where you two are, but
we have to, Dave.
Yep. It isn't that bad. It isn't that bad what we're
All
doing.
right,
It really isn't.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to move it along here. So we have 3 ayes. So now we're down to a roll call. So Mark, it's you and I. I think I can get behind this one. I think I can go for aye.
I think it ends up being worse for the applicant as a timeline, but I'll go with a yes.
Okay.
We're amazing.
right.
We are just amazing.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everyone again. I want to thank the applicant. I want to thank the land use office, you know, for putting everything together. This was a very, very big project. And again, just a note of gratitude, you know, for everyone that's been on this commission. It's been a challenging project, and I think it was a good discussion here tonight. I think everybody was trying to get to the right place and support, again, our mission, which is to protect the wetlands. So
Thank you, Sharon.
yeah. So before we move on, anybody else want to add any comments?
No, I think we fulfilled the mission of saving wetlands here. Because you know, it's still sort of open, even though we voted on it. We've fulfilled our mission on this commission.
I don't think we did. I think we dodged and we pushed something down the road, and we're going to end up looking at it again.
Should be all right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. There's no way around it. You know, if we rejected it, we'd still be looking at it again.
All right. I'd like to move on the agenda, gentlemen, here. The next we have, it's 32 Silver Mine Road. This was an application for a deck. I don't remember any problems with this one. This one, the one with the deck was, there was a building. It just happened to be in the upland review area, but the deck was going to be kind of surrounded by the building. I didn't remember any questions or concerns or anything open on this one.
I tend to agree.
Minutes.
Yeah, having watched that building for many years, passing it, and so have you, Sharon, it's nice to see that it's going to be fixed up.
I don't remember. I'm just looking at the minutes here.
It was pretty clear.
There weren't any additional questions.
Yeah.
I would also be willing to be, if this is my night,
This is your night, Michael.
to make a motion to approve 32 Silver Mine Road, number W-20-37, for the construction of a deck based on a drawing by, which I don't have in front of me, and it'll take me a moment to get. But does someone else have the drawing?
Yeah, it's called a GIS map marking the location of the deck dated 9/9/2020.
Based on a GIS map marking the location of the deck dated 9/9/2020, with all the usual stipulations to be effective on the date after publication.
I will take tonight to second Michael's motions.
Okay.
My new mission.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, well, that is all the old business that we have. I do not see any new business. Let's return to our public hearing. So we're going to return to 731 Federal Road. So just look. So we've got some people here for the applicant. I see Mr. Lucera. So, and we have others for this application.
Yes, Jody Chase is here to give the commission an update based on the request that Mark suggested about moving the drive and parking further away from the river. We have made an application to ZBA. We will be on their agenda next week for that variance. We have plans to show you what we've submitted to them, which Dinus or Michelle can put up. And then Jody Chase has done some further work on endangered plants through one of her consultants. And Jody, I saw her here a moment ago, but I don't see her right now. Oh, there you are. Sorry. It has Shanna under your name. Hello, Jody. So we'll let her discuss that, but let's first do the plan that we submitted to ZBA. Dennis or Michelle, please.
Okay, I'll am I able to share the screen here?
Yes, I made you and Michelle co-hosts in case you need to share your screens.
Terrific. Then I will grab what I've got on the screen and share it with you straight away. Has that popped up yet?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so what Mr. Lucera had asked us to do was to create an overlay map that depicts what the current application is, which is in black ink, and overlay with what we had proposed to ZBA in red. So you'll note that in this northern vicinity of the proposed development, we have pushed or pulled, whichever you see it, the parking approximately 10 feet westward away from the Still River and its associated water course, or wetlands. You'll also note on this drawing these little blobs and dots in it. If you wish, I'll zoom in a little bit. But what these represent are the trees that our land surveyor went out and field located for us and for you folks to see propose, or what our proposed development would do to these larger trees. And you'll note by proposing to push again the parking and driveway to the west a little bit, we've Xed out the trees that would be impacted by this relocation, and it results in about 12 trees having to be removed for this proposed iteration of the plan.
How many less is that?
So it's about 7 fewer trees than what the current proposal calls.
40% less.
So I mean, and the current proposal would have this cluster of trees removed, and as well as this tree here. So again, about 6
allows you, but that allows you by this, I said, to maintain more, like I said, more of the trees that are there on this riparian buffer.
Absolutely, you're
Right,
correct.
which is, and we've been talking about, or we've had on the agenda as one of our things that are on our mind is, like I said, the protection of riparian buffers. There's a great deal of literature out about the importance of maintaining shade, of precluding runoff, into streams and rivers by maintaining vegetation, trying to keep what is there, trying to remove invasives. I was looking, I found a couple of them out there, the Pennsylvania Land Trust, Yukon they've got an article about the importance of riparian buffers, particularly as weather changes. Maybe not for you, Dinas, but maybe others. Did you guys, what standards did you guys think about for this very important area?
In what respect? With
in terms of, like I said, was there any sort of literature or a study, like I said, that you guys took a look at, to, like I said, to try and, to try and take advantage of either, best practices or information that, that supports the importance of trying to maintain that buffer as it is?
I think no.
I mean, there's lots of it out there. I mean, there's enormous amounts of of states and Connecticut and Michigan. I mean, I found a lot of them. Talked about the importance of that. I was just wondering if there was one in particular that that you guys looked at, and if you don't know off the top of your head, maybe you could just let us know.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing specific that jumps to my mind. This what we've proposed here by pushing the parking, I mean, it was just based on a general consensus that saving some of the buffer is key here, because the more you save, the more natural things remain, and in fact, less planting required as well.
Oh yeah, well, I said I found dozens. I found dozens of studies. I just did, you just do a quick search on the internet and you can find dozens of studies from states and land trusts that talk about the importance of this, and particularly the degradation of water quality if you do not maintain riparian buffers. There's a lot of information out there that's supportive of what you guys are trying to do here.
Yep. So, and in a nutshell, though, this is what we've proposed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we are on their agenda to be heard next week. And we look forward to reporting back to the commission as to how we fared with that board.
So, Dinas, when I look at this, I appreciate the work you did on it, but obviously that. Near point number 17, that scour pad or whatever you're going to call it on this drawing, that's going to shift further away. Which
Correct.
might mean, which might mean trees 150, 151, 152 might be able to stay too.
Good observation. Yeah, our drawing right now was just merely the shift
No,
of the parking. We didn't go in and
Understood.
yeah,
Understood.
but clearly if the zoning board of appeals chooses to approve what we've submitted, then we would relocate this retaining wall also closer to the edge of
Right.
the, basically the same type of layout, just further from the wetlands. And our riprap spillway would also be pulled back and away from the wetlands as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good
I just wanted to be
observation.
clear on, and you'll save whatever other trees you can save.
Absolutely.
Great.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you, Mr. Lucero, for that.
You're welcome.
So from our last meeting, there was concern of the commission with respect to the flooding associated with our proposed development. And what we have, and if I may, I'll share it. It's very difficult to see, but we had submitted some additional documentation to you pertaining to modifications to our grading and utility plan, which in general, what we proposed to do was to lower the ultimate height of the retaining walls that are being proposed along the eastern edge of our parking lot.
Yep.
We tossed it back and forth as consultants and a team, and prior to pulling the trigger on making that change, we did meet with staff and the wetlands consultant, and the wetlands consultant concurred and actually, made the suggestion that we lower that retaining wall to the degree that it matches or is relatively close to matching the flood, the 100-year flood elevation associated with the Still River. And if you wish, I can flip to that drawing, but basically that
I have
drawing
it
is
up on my screen.
exactly like the other drawing that you've looked at, but with different elevations at the top of the wall.
Bruce, could I ask what the 100-year flood level is? At what height?
Yeah, so the 100-year flood level as it goes through our site varies on the elevation as the Still River flows from the south to the north. The high elevation of that river is at the south end of the site, and that's at roughly elevation 274.9.
Okay.
And as we get to the northern end of the site, the elevation is about 274.1.
I saw that on your plans. I'm speaking now just from not as an expert, but as someone who for 18 years had an office a few miles south, but basically in the same position in the Still River. The building we were in had a back parking lot that was at its closest point to the river was at 275. Back of the building was at 280 feet. In the last 18 years, on 5 occasions, the water reached the 280-foot level.
It's curious that the elevation would be the same as it is on our site.
Well, I understand because the river flows down, but we're talking about a couple of miles. The 475 Federal Road was the address of the building. I know that because I was there. The back parking lot flooded completely. It was at least five times. It was the water came up close to the building. At least on 2 occasions, the water was deep in the entire rear parking lot, which meant it reached over 280 feet. That's just personal observation. That's why my concern for your project.
Interesting. Yeah, I've lived in the area for nearly my entire life, and I've witnessed the flooding of the Still River and properties in and around this vicinity, though not specifically at 475.
Well, just so you know, it's next door to what was for a number of years has been Max Motorcycles.
Yeah, Dow Tile and
Yeah.
so on. Yeah.
Yeah, that rear parking lot, Max Motorcycles, they lost a few hundred vehicles that were parked in their back parking lot, which is also when I moved down, the height of that was at also at 276. And that parking lot flooded on a number of occasions. After the first time, they learned their lesson and they never left anything parked back there.
Well, in all due fairness, that is a few miles away.
It is.
I haven't studied, maybe you have, the Still River. Is there a pinch point between these two where the flow could be greater there? You know,
Right.
It's just too much ifs and whats and when.
Oh, I understand. That's why I say I'm not an expert. I'm just concerned. And when I hear 100-year flood, I know what's going on. And it's a term that raises a few hackles on some people's necks, but global warming is causing these floods, these 100-year floods, to happen every 5 or 10 years now. That's my belief.
Hey, Dennis, can you go back to the map here with your revision? Can we just take a look at if there are, or if any, to sort of the disturbed wetlands? Can we just go back to that calculation, disturbed wetlands and net loss on that plan?
So
we actually have a gain.
Well, that's what I want. That's what I wanted to try and get out.
We want to review that.
Yeah, this is what we just want to review here. So,
yeah. So with respect to our,
can you just put the plan up again? Is that possible?
Yep. Yeah. Let me. Every time I do this is like a learning process. I don't understand why, but I'm learning faster and faster here.
What would it be
Well,
titled?
put you under pressure. I've been struggling here trying to figure out why my mouse wouldn't work, and I have 2 mice, and I had the wrong one. So I'm back in business here. So
I'm in good company then.
Yep.
Awesome.
Because the original application talked about 8,300 square feet of disturbed wetlands. So just refresh our memory on disturbed wetlands and net loss, if there is any now, please.
Yeah. So our proposed development in putting in what we're proposing to put in, yes, there will be a loss of about 8,300 square feet of wetlands, but
and where is that? Can you show that on the plan there?
Sure. And you know what, I'm going to click out of this screen and go into a different screen, if I may. And what this will allow me to do is scroll through our sheets one by one. And here we go. Share it, baby. There, that should have popped up. Yeah.
Almost.
There it is.
Okay.
So yeah, this we'll start with this sheet at the northernmost end. And you can see right in this vicinity associated with this discharge point that we're basically disturbing so that we may stabilize this current ditch that exists. What we're doing is proposing to widen it out, soften the slopes along the sides and stabilize them so that there's no erosion. But this disturbance itself is about 1,827 square feet.
Linus, if I may stop you.
Yep.
If you get through your zoning, that would actually change and potentially be less if we're sliding westward.
Yeah, so exactly. We would end up going generally in a westward direction.
Yeah, that's the plan I wanted to look at, Dinus. I wanted to just look at the one you're taking to ZBA.
Well, so
That-
we
so-
kept it simple with the ZBA. You know, basically we did the overlay and moved the parking. We did not go through and regrade and go through
Okay.
the heavy design process with the ZBA.
With your, again, I'm not going to hold you to anything, right? But just big picture, what changes would you think you'd be looking at?
So I think
Again,
with,
I'm not
with
holding you to
No, no, no.
anything, but just, you've been looking at it a lot longer than we have.
So yeah, with the change that we're proposing to the ZBA, again, we'd be pulling everything here roughly 10 feet away, gaining a nicer riparian buffer. As we get further to the south, our pullback tapers down a little bit to next to,
So just on that
So-
one let's just one by one. So on that one where your mouse is, big picture, think, just looking at it, what might the impacts be? More, less impact? Is it permanent? Just, it's not, it's a disturbance? Is it a loss? What's your thinking at this moment?
So again, I mean, is it a loss? No, because we're not taking it away. It's a temporary disturbance in an effort to stabilize this location and the ditch associated with an existing erosion point. So again, we'll be stabilizing it, planting it. Ultimately, it won't be changed from a wetland. It'll still be a wetland, but we're temporarily disturbing it to allow us to make the existing location more stable.
And you said
And-
that's approximately 1,500-ish square feet?
Yeah, 1,827 is the exact. And by pulling away, we'll likely save ourselves maybe a couple hundred square feet. And it'll, again, it'll serve a good purpose in that we would be pulling our discharge point a little further away and getting ourselves to perhaps even create a little bit more wetlands by pulling our discharge point back from where it currently discharges.
All right. So the next area of wetland impact is, right, that's where your mouse is?
Yep, it's right in here, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what the square footage is. I don't have it on the screen. I may have to let me scroll in and see if it's on the next sheet. So don't get dizzy as I move this, but we'll.
Well, it's.
Yeah, I lost. It was cut off on the drawing, but this area is a bit bigger than 1,800.
Not to interrupt, but it's
I know Michelle is with
3,800
us.
square feet.
Michelle, I don't know.
3,800?
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
So,
Tag
but
your
there's,
egg.
right, so, but there is a little bit of a permanent disturbance here, but I said, because you guys, these drainage areas off of Federal Road, they're open now, right? And you're putting culverts in, so that is a permanent change.
Well,
right?
Again, the wetland itself ends in this vicinity where our proposed retaining wall is. So, the permanent change would be the installation of riprap in here. And again, yeah, it would be a permanent change in that we're shaping this existing discharge point, but shaping it in such a fashion where, again, we're going to have a stable discharge as opposed to an erosive surface.
So, but that one is, you're just proposing just general sheet flow from that riprap pad into the Still River?
Yes. Again, ultimately, the width of this channel that we're proposing, I think, is about 12 feet. I can't
And those are
scale it on the drawing. I don't have it. I can get you that information
10 feet,
that-
Dennis.
as a follow-up.
so Michelle, maybe just announce yourself there. So for the
Sorry,
record,
Michelle from Artel, Michelle McCoy with Artel. It's 10 feet wide, Dennis, in that area, that
Thank
swale. And you have the check dams as well to slow down the sheet flow as it enters the river.
did you guys think
Right.
about?
Yeah, you gave me the opportunity to throw a scale on it. Yeah, it's 10 feet, a little bit wider, but as we were proposing here again, we've got our discharge point, then a check dam, actually a series of check dams to help pool the water, slow it down, and help reduce any sediments that might be carried off through the state drainage discharge.
Any chance for like a detention basin in there and not sheet flow?
So
Dennis, can I answer that?
Yeah.
And we met, Sharon, we met with Anthony Lucero for the record. We met with Steve Trinkus, and we originally had detention basins on the site, and Steve had us remove those detention basins.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he's on with us tonight. I saw some initials. I didn't see his face, but I asked him to elaborate on his thinking for having us do that. The original set of plans we submitted to you had 2 detention or 3 detention areas.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm looking at this one. And I said, I thought there were detention basins over there.
Steve had us remove those.
Okay, well, we'll go take a look at it. So that is the second area of wetlands disturbance, and I think you guys said that's about 3,800 square feet. About
yes,
roughish.
About that.
Yeah. So is there where's the other area? Is there another one?
Oops. Yep, there's one other area.
It's at the southern end of the property.
Yeah.
Dennis, do you want me to share that plan?
If you can, I don't have it in my packet of goodies here for whatever reason.
Okay,
I'm gonna stop sharing here. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Dennis, you do have it. No one can ever find them when called upon in a Zoom meeting.
No one can ever find them is right.
Not allow anyone ever to find what they're looking for.
Darius's law.
Yeah.
Thank you for your vote of confidence.
I got it. 1 second.
Happens to all of us.
1 second. It's gonna be in this set. Okay. It's this one down here. So it's there. You can see it there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not highlighted.
You can see it.
I'm pointing with my mouse. It's not working.
All right, it's on the screen, Dennis.
Yep, yeah, I see it.
Okay. So that area is 2,680 square feet of disturbance.
So that's the second area or the third
area.
The third.
That's a third.
All right, so you're still approximately 8,000-ish, 4-ish. You're approximately, even with this, and I appreciate you guys haven't done the exact calculation, which is fine.
Yep.
But you're still about 8,000, and it's disturbed.
But restored. Is that what we're thinking?
But it's not eliminated. You're not, how much do you guys know? Well, and we should probably give you the chance to do that calculation. I said, but that's one thing that I'll be interested in. Do you see a net loss of wetlands here?
So no, in fact, what with all the proposed swales that are that we worked closely with Mr. Trinkus to create, we will in fact, once all is said and done, we'll have about 16,000 square feet of creation on the property.
So can you just help me out? Like I said, just again, big picture. So you've got three areas of wetlands impact to be approximately how much, like I said, so on going to the third one, which is the southerly one, about how much of that parking lot goes through that one? Is it like half or a third or drains into that southerly?
So that southerly discharge point,
Yeah.
it's currently an existing discharge point, and what we're proposing to do is to take not only our site drainage, which is, let's say roughly the southern half of the site, excluding our buildings, but the southerly half of our site, plus the state drainage system that comes in off at the southwestern corner of our site. So the lower right side of the picture that's on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
What we're proposing to do here is to take and run all this stormwater through nice wide flat swales, allowing the water to infiltrate to some degree, to keep this soil regime wet. And we've also proposed wetland plantings throughout, so that the swales will function as a wetland.
So is there a discharge calculation, like pre-development water discharge off the site calculation and post-development? Have you guys had a chance to? I guess you probably wouldn't have a chance to do this one that you're taking to ZBA, but
Yeah, not the ZBA one, but I suspect it'll be, relatively similar. But I don't have that number committed to memory.
yeah.
But I think an important thing to note, that in keeping with keeping the soils wet, we are proposing to infiltrate our roof drains from the both buildings into the ground, so that there should not be any discharge whatsoever from our roof drains to the wetland. In fact, the water will here go right into the ground and recharge the ground itself, rather than free flow out to the Still River. So we're taking some flow out of the equation there. Excuse me.
And you probably do have this one on the non-ZBA, the original applicant or the modified application. Do you have that one? Do you have the again, the one just previous to the? I'm not sure how to describe it. I guess I have the number here.
Yeah. So again, I don't have that number committed to memory, but it is part of the overall application that was submitted. It's in our
yeah, I think like it would be the 819. It would be the 819 application.
Yes. What I can do is I can submit that through staff. So that,
yeah, I would be interested. I said, in the 819, seeing what that number is for the 819 application, and then I said, I think I'll speak for myself. I said I think there's a lot of advantages to the Still River for we'll call it the ZBA plan for now, right? Maybe that's not the best term, but we can call it that. I mean, but I'll be interested. Hopefully it'll be successful. And see what that number is.
There was a slight reduction for all the storm events with the sweat swales and the little pond area.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I'm sure you guys almost always have that number, so I'll be keen to see it. So
we'll get that for you for sure for the next meeting when we report back about our ZBA.
Okay. Well, I've kind of dominated the conversation here with questions. Let me ask my colleagues, any place you guys want to go with this?
Madam Chairman, Anthony Lucera, we have one other plan that we wanted to share that was asked by Michael. And Michelle, if you could put up the plan of the GPS aerial view that we did, and the we located the in white on this plan the 100-year storm line to show the effects on the east side of the river. And Michelle, if you could zoom in on that for them.
Is that good, Tony?
Yeah, that's great. So that
Yes.
that is the 274
The
line.
white line.
Yep, and that indicates the approximate effects of the Still River during a 100-year storm event. You know, give or take a little bit, but again, it gives you the idea as to how far the water under current conditions flows to the east.
Can you scroll that to the southerly direction just to let me see there?
Good.
Yep, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Dinus, when you lowered your retaining wall, you got your retaining wall under 274 now?
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
we've set it pretty, yeah, just a little bit under that 100-year flood elevation.
So, in effect,
Mike, Mark, excuse me one second. Michelle, you have that exact elevation.
versus encroach into any of these properties any further.
That correct. It will not. The other thing that's not readily apparent on our drawings is that with the way that we are reshaping our property, we're actually taking on or creating a means by which we can take on more water onto our side,
Right.
to make certain that we're not impacting
Right.
our neighbors to the east or to the south or north.
Yeah, and that's why I had asked for this, because I wanted to see what the potential
Yeah,
impact.
we're I think cognizant of our neighbors, and we want to make sure that that everybody is still okay, and what we're doing is not going to create any troubles for anyone.
Madam Chairman, one of the other things we want to discuss with you tonight, which is Jody Chase's area of
Right.
expertise and her consultants. Jody, would you fill them in on your the survey of endangered plants that we were requested to do and that you accomplished between the two meetings, last meeting and this one?
Sure, Jody Chase for the record. So we submitted a query to Natural Diversity Database, and they came back with about half a dozen different plants and 2 turtles, box and wood turtle. And so we already have the turtle protection measures incorporated into our application, same measures that they requested of us. The half dozen plants that they came back with, we hired a botanist to go out to the site. That's Elizabeth Corrigan, and she did not find any of the species that they were concerned about on our property. In fact, Deep suggested to us that in fact those species were probably on the site to the south and not on our property, and Betsy confirmed that was the case.
Could I ask a question, Jody?
Of course.
So that letter you referenced from your botanist, what percentage of the riverbank and shoreline was not accessible? Like, how much of it did she see?
She saw the riverbank. What was not accessible was the interior portions of the site that are intensely vegetated by invasive species. It's the within the upland review areas primarily and somewhat into the wetlands, there's very dense areas of invasive species, and those were impenetrable. And those are the areas she was not able to investigate. But as she said, those areas are so covered with invasive species that she would never expect to find any endangered species there, which stands to reason because endangered species are endangered in large part because of invasive species have overtaken their habitat. And as she pointed out, those invasive species have created such a dense canopy, very little sunlight is penetrating to the ground. So those were the areas that she found inaccessible, not the riverbank.
Okay, thank you. And that actually brings me to a quick question, Mr. Lucera. When you dispose of the fill that has the invasive species, how are you doing that? That's going off-site somewhere, and we're not going to be potentially having seeded.
Actually, Mark, that the site is a fill site, so no materials will be leaving the site. We need to import material.
So what are you going to do with the invasive plants? Just bury them under the asphalt?
No. One of the applicants, a meeting or two ago, Mr. Gambino, we retained him at the commission's request many, many years ago at Riverview, the project up the road. And we hired him to remove the invasive species. And I was going to suggest that after Jody got finished talking, that if you wished, we would make that a part of your conditions of approval, that we would engage Mr. Gambino or someone like him to remove the endangered species.
I personally would
the application is an endangered species removal plan. You've had that for several weeks now.
See that? Jody's way ahead of me.
And me.
Hey, Jody, can we just jump back maybe the conversation that we started this out in terms of riparian buffers? I was sort of asking Dinas if he had a favorite sort of reference material about riparian buffers. I said I found a couple of them. Are there any in particular that you that you can think of off the top of your head that we should take a look at?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go through my files on that. But preserving riparian buffers has been around quite a long time. And I think we've done the ZBA application that Dinas is proposing really enhances the riparian buffer very nicely. Yeah,
I said I found a couple of them, This is the one from, I said Natural Resource Conservation Service. It's, specific to Connecticut. So I found a couple of them. So I said there were a lot of them. So I was looking for ones that maybe you found to be the most useful. So. All right, anything else for us? Or did we miss anything, Jody? Let me say it that way. I mean, in terms of that you wanted to talk about.
No, that's, Madam Chairman, Anthony Lucera, that's the list I had to be discussed this evening.
Okay. All right, let me ask the commissioners again. Do you guys have questions? If not, like I said, it's a public hearing, so we'll go over to, to the public portion of this.
I have no good.
Yeah,
John?
no, that's fine. You can do that.
Dave?
Yep, no, you can go on.
You addressed the couple of 3 or 4 concerns I had, so I'll be awaiting to hear your results from ZBA.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you taking quick action on those things.
I do too.
Would all of you like to have Steve Trinkus at the next meeting?
I think
his report. I don't know that we need him here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Karen, I mean, that's up to the other commissioners. I don't think so, unless I said I haven't done an exact compare and contrast from the 819 plan to this one, or the ZBA plan. I haven't quite done that mental arithmetic there. Doesn't seem to be too different in terms of stormwater management.
If you decide you do want him, just send me an email and I'll talk to him.
All right. I'm sure he will want to see, maybe you could do this. Maybe you could send him their draft plan, their draft plan from the ZBA. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm talking out loud here.
Okay.
And then he can, I said, and understanding that it is a draft plan.
Michelle, didn't we look at that with him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, when we met with him last week, he looked at it.
Right.
So he's seen it.
He's seen it. So
Yes.
Right. I'm assuming maybe he's thinking about it, or he's going to write something. Does anybody?
Well, he said he was fine with it because it really didn't affect anything that he was doing.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Or reviewing, I should say.
Okay. All All right, so let's move to the public portion of the hearing. Is there anyone on the Zoom chat here that has a technical question or for the applicant, or you got a question about what you heard tonight, or a question about the process? Again, we're looking for people raising their hands or speaking.
Maybe we could take back over the screen.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And now I can see all of the.
Yeah, I could see all of it as well. I don't see anybody raising their hand. I don't hear anyone. So if there's anybody from the public, I'm not hearing anyone. So let's go to the next portion of the public hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor of this application? Got 13 people, so I don't see, I think we've got everybody. I don't see anybody. I don't hear anybody. Anybody on the phone, anybody from the public want to speak in opposition to this application?
Again, I do not see anybody.
I don't see anybody. Okay, well, again, the applicant has provided an extension that takes us to our next meeting, which is October 13th.
Madam Chairman, can I ask Alice to check if we do need another extension beyond that date, to just throw me an email tomorrow and let me know how much time we have left to extend?
Okay, actually, I can tell you right now because we calculated it through October 13th. So you have 32 left.
As of today or as of the 13th?
As of the 13th.
The 32 days more after the 13th?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And like I said, in days gone by, we've asked everyone to write a note, in the meeting, so we can't do that. So we always take verbal ones. So verbal ones with follow-ups if that's where we go. So, all right. Any closing comments from anyone? If not, we'll take a motion to continue.
I would make a motion to continue public hearing on 731 Federal Road, number W-20-26, until the next scheduled meeting.
I'll second.
All right, thanks, Dave. All those in favor, any discussion?
Aye.
All those in favor, aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, thank you, everyone. So we're going to go back to go back to our agenda here.
Thank you.
Aaron,
Good night.
I am
Have a good night.
using internet, so if I get cut off.
Okay, you get cut off. All right, well, I think we've got, in terms of correspondence, I see just a bunch of minutes. We can try and, I thought it's just 9 o'clock. Let's see if we can handle these minutes. First, the August 24th minutes. I went through August 24th. I did not see anything.
If you guys can hear me, I didn't look at either of them yet.
Yeah. Do you want to hold them? I mean, I went through them.
I would hold them.
You want to hold them? All right. I'm okay with that. All right. So anybody want to take a look at the September 14th minutes?
I looked at September 14th and saw no issues with it.
Okay, but if
yes, I would echo that. I didn't
again,
either. I don't have them
Mark,
in
if you
front of me,
haven't
but
read them, there's no problem in holding them.
I would prefer to hold them. There was
Okay.
hearings.
All right, no problem. All right, so we are going to please keep the minutes for
8/24, 9/14.
August 24th and the 14th on our agenda as things to do. Informal discussion, riparian buffers. We've been talking about that. PFAs in the water. Alice, I got a new one here. Proposed current maintenance plans for the grounds at Huckleberry.
Yeah, I had sent that to you a while ago.
You did. You did. You did. And probably while I was going through all the public hearing for the school and for 7:30 and 7:31, I may not have read it. Was I the only one you sent it to?
Actually, yes, you are the only one who sent it to everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, do me a favor, would you? Help me out and send it to everyone,
Sure.
and then we'll why don't you help me out and put a little pressure on me, and why don't you put it on like new business?
Okay.
Okay, put a little pressure on me.
Okay.
All right.
That's what you need.
That's what we need, right? All right, everyone. Said with that, I think we have come to the end of our agenda. Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Excuse me, before we disconnect, Michael, when you made the motion for 100 Candlewood Lake Road, you were reading from a list of stipulations. Would it be possible for you to email me that document?
Yes, it certainly would be
I'd like
possible.
to
That's the one that Alice crafted, right?
Yes,
Right.
Yeah, if
So I
someone
can
could
send
just
it.
send me a copy of that, that would be really
because
helpful.
I don't have it for some reason, I don't have it on the computer. I have it in print.
I'll get it to her.
Yeah,
Okay.
and those were the ones about. Like I said, there was management, monitoring. They were not the two. They were not the two.
Protection of the box turtles. It was basically Alice put together a list of everything we had discussed.
Right. I just want to review it for accuracy when I'm typing it
Of
up.
course.
Thank you.
All right. Again, well, before I call the motion to adjourn, again, just a big thank you to everyone for, like I said, for good content and good discussion. So thank you for that. All right. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Any
We need a
opposed?
motion in a second.
Did anyone actually make it?
I thought you did, Michael. Maybe not. Oh, excuse me.
I will. I make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Well,
Second.
thank you. Thank you for that. Maybe I heard it in my mind. So
Then I
Michael
vote
made the
yes for my motion.
Dave?
No, I thought Michael did do it, but
Okay.
Yeah, but that's
Doesn't
no, I
matter.
did.
Accuracy and do-over is better than messing up. So Dave, I heard a second on the motion to adjourn.
second. Yep.
Sound right, Allison?
Yep.
The two of them? All right. All right. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? All right. Motion carries unanimous. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
So Alice, I
Well,
hope
thank
you'll
you,
be able to play
everybody.
with your
Good job tonight, incidentally. Good
granddaughter.
job, everybody.